Channel here over at SubScribestar. So escapism is popular right now, and Hollywood does not seem to be getting the message yet. Be on the right side of history, which just happens to be our side 100% of the time, who just also happen to be the side of communist gulags. But no, we're definitely right about sterilizing your kids and cross-dressing them and sodomizing each other. So the people who are chronically depressed and get anxiety when ordering a pizza happen to be on the right side of history, and the people with happy families are doing it wrong. This is the participation, self-esteem generation who's all grown up, and it's just as gay and cringe as you can imagine. So the left wing needs a lot of rules to maintain the left wing. It's why they can't meme, because everything's a carefully constructed fiction. So to set this up, what has been happening in Hollywood, which you probably, even if you don't really pay attention to Hollywood, you probably have seen this in the few movies you do watch, is because of social media and these Hollywood idiots who are so deep in an echo chamber. I mean, that they don't know they're in an echo chamber. They've been posting this bizarro, toxic left-wing comments that have alienated the potential audience, who decide to save their money and not pay for the movies, which is a problem because they're in there to sell tickets, and the actors seem sort of divorced from that concept. And, you know, yeah, like, it'd be better to incentivize them if you, like, paid them off the back end or something, like made that a performance model. And the thing is, this is more than a minor issue because Hollywood has had a lot of movies losing money, and there's a similar situation to video games. I mean, there's been a ton of bombs lately, and you just can't, like, the movies that are making money are not making up for the ones that are losing money. And the same thing goes for their streaming platforms as well. So the other side of the coin is, here's the thing, the best known streaming shows that you associate with, like, Amazon and Disney Plus, and I don't know about Netflix as much. Actually, Disney Plus isn't even in the top 10 of streaming minutes. I think it's all Netflix and some other company. Is you're aware of, like, Rings of Power? Well, that's a massive failure for them. They spent like $700-800 million, and it's, people are talking about how bad it is. And the others are the Disney Star Wars streaming shows, and people talk about how bad most of those are. And then the Marvel streaming shows are kind of a mixed bag. I think they have more fans over there. Yeah, believe it or not, Hollywood actually needs to make money, and some of these people seem to forget that concept. The other part of the coin is the content of the movies themselves. They're woke, but when the actors get online and they alienate half the audience with their bizarre left-wing viewpoints, it costs the company money. I mean, Rachel Zegler, the one with the Snow White, is just famous for putting her foot in her mouth, like, every time she got out there, or, you know, virtue signaling over politics. You realize, like, somebody's take her aside and go, yeah, so this is this political issue you're talking about. It's evenly divided, and in fact, if it's something to do with who just got elected, it's like, well, it slightly favors one side more than the other. So any position you take that's strongly on one side or the other, you're alienating half of the potential customers, who we need to go to the theater and pay $12 to watch this movie. You get that, right? And they look at you like, but those are Nazis. No, you're just, that's how deep in an echo chamber you are. Those are your ordinary people. So the short summary is Hollywood should start having silence provisions in their contracts that, like, for a year it takes to make the film, they have to stay off social media and just run it through have one public relations person get on there and publicize this stuff for them, because every time they open their mouth, they end up costing the company millions. And I think there's a lot of Hollywood actors who, if you told them that, they're addicted to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They wouldn't take those jobs if you said you're prohibited from posting under your own name for a year until the movie comes out. They just couldn't do it, I think. So there's just an example of a lot of this situation here, a lot of left-wing stereotypical behavior where that people are really getting tired of. Where the actor here now this is the producer, but let me go down to the actor's comment. This is the actor's comment, and his comment is about a virtue signaling straw man type of comment. It's like going online and saying Mao Zedong was evil, which in our circles would be obvious, but pretty contentious to the left. You get a lot of left wingers going, actually, well fertilized fields with Bone Gardens is we had a bumper crop, and that's a good thing. No, we needed to get rid of 60 million wrong thinkers. Like, maybe not. So the actor has an Instagram post about how much he loves the gays, and if you have a problem with that, then don't watch the movies, which presumably he's implying, I guess, they'll be about sodomy and monkeypox. It was like that Finn actor, was it John Boyega, who is legitimately sub 90 IQ, and he got on some post like 5 years ago when BLM was protesting for a fentanyl junkie who was waving around his BLM flag, and he goes, I don't care what happens to me. I think BLM, as if there was going to be negative consequences for that statement. Except the same people that run Disney created BLM. It's not a brave statement to say something that's supported by every mainstream company. It's like, gee, you didn't notice they all had little BLM flags? Or whenever the gay month or week is, you don't notice like all those corporations, well, not in the Middle East or Africa, they all have like rainbow flags? It's like every mainstream company gets on board with whatever the current fad is. It's like, no, of course they don't really care. They're just doing what everyone else is doing. But in his mind, in his head canon, he thought he was really doing something. Or that Obi-Wan character who was in the Star Wars streaming show, and I guess he had some kind of black sidekick or something, and or antagonist or protagonist, and he said something about like, well, if you don't like my co-star, then you're a big intolerant meanie, and you shouldn't watch the show, which people just say challenge accepted, and we're not going to watch the show. Same thing happened in Rings of Power, because someone at Amazon told the actors from Lord of the Rings from 20 plus years ago that if they ever want to be in any future specials and get paid for those kind of retrospect type of movies, then they have to make a video sucking off the Afro Hobbits, which they did, and I kid you not, it looked like a hostage video. It looked like they were holding up a newspaper to prove life or something. It was absolutely pathetic. And they're all wearing little t-shirts with like little Afro elves ears and different colored ears. And like, the elves come in all colors and the hobbits. And it's like, oh, is that what Tolkien wrote? No, but there's money behind this, and Amazon said they're going to put us in some show in the future. Unfortunately, the effect is people look at these cucked displays of virtue signal as a bunch of bleeding pussies, and we're not going to watch your diverse cancer. Nobody cares what stupid Hollywood dancing monkeys think. They're there to entertain. But this type of autistic bundles of stickery has not been going well, and apparently this producer is aware of it, because he came out and was forced to issue this interesting statement that didn't mention the soy boy pussy actor, but essentially said the movie wasn't political. It's made for people on the right and the left. Please come out and watch our movie, because he didn't want the actors virtue signaling to ruin the movie, which is, shows you the difference between the director producer over here and the actor who I guess already got paid, but the director producer needs to sell the movie. It's a whole different thing if you own the company, which is fair enough. He didn't want to make the statement, but he also didn't want to lose the audience, which has been happening way too often lately. And the next phase of what the left wing does is you have these Mary Sue type of probably USA funded media. That is a fantastic. I don't know if you heard about Politico. And it turns out that your taxpayer dollars went into some CIA glow-up called USA Aid, which then went and funded every left-wing Soros type of organization. Absolutely bizarre. Gotta admit, Trump is doing some things I flat out did not see coming. So, and a small soy Twitter accounts get in the comments and be the reply guy virtue signal to make demands and basically try to get as much attention as possible to grow their social media footprint, which on one hand, it's just pure dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good chemicals from getting upvotes on social media. And the other, well, there is money involved in Twitter and across social media if you grow your footprint, because Twitter is monetized. And unfortunately, that's not such a good thing, because a lot of people are doing clickbait. And the popular clickbait on Twitter now is they find an old popular post from somebody, and they'll cut it out, and they'll go, I still think about this from time to time because it'll, it might be worth $100 in monetization. I mean, that's the problem with this. It needs some work because people are just doing that kind of stuff because it pays. It's like these Hypocrite does it a lot, and I love his channel, I love him, but it's like he's paying the bills on Twitter. He has no choice. Anyway, they use this kind of stuff for a variety of reasons. So they end up making mountains out of molehills and pretend to be outraged. And the worst is when it's not them directly; it's on behalf of I have some sort of friend of whatever is popular of the day. I mean, you could probably use 4chan to make Irish the new community to give a shit about, on behalf of the indigenous, marginalized, and oppressed native people of Pussystan, and that they need to be better. And yikes, my guy, do the work. It's not our job to educate you. Just yikes. It's all these. They have a checklist of pre-approved phrases. And because they don't want to say something outside the spectrum of allowable opinions, because it might become politically incorrect a couple days later. And I don't even want to give any examples because it's probably a bunch of hot words on but there's phrases that involve getting ripped off that are I guess not allowed anymore, though I let those things slip out all the time. It's virtue signaling. These people just come in their pants if they can get a lot of engagement on a post. Where we just mute conversations and move on to try to be as based as we can online. The goal for me is just to trigger people, and then I mute the thread, and then I move on to trigger more pussies. That's where I get my dopamine from. So their whole world is a straw man where they are in or defending marginalized communities or the disenfranchised, which usually means that they're a bunch of whiny, degenerate criminals and perverts where, if they just stop looting or sodomizing each other, you're not actually marginalized. That's just Frankfurt School propaganda that these idiots love to repeat. And the thing with being marginalized is they love that phrase. And now, what the BLT community refers to themselves as? Minorities. And they slowly have been working that in the past few months. They've done something, actually, I really respect, is that they've created this hierarchy, and because they write so many articles, they put themselves at the top. Even Dave Chappelle made a comment about it, and he was pissed about it. He goes, we have immutable characteristics, which, fair enough. And he's implying that the BLT community doesn't quite have their level of oppression. And I'm sitting back and look. It's like I hope you guys eat each other up, because I think you're both just absolutely horrible. So everything is kind of framed as if they're the victims, and we, the non-criminal sodomizing degenerates, need to be their allies, because that frames us as the bad guys and the oppressors. This is just this whole Moses Mordecai Levy framework. And then as the oppressed, and like none of this is real, neither one of those groups is marginalized and oppressed, they have consequences for their actions. And if all groups, like if you put out, what you get back in the world is a lot of what you put out there. And both those groups need to kind of remember that. But these people don't have anything else to be proud of or positive things to focus on, so they identify as victims and spend a lot of time sodomizing each other and smoking weed and crying, and sometimes probably all at once. They frame everything as if they are the good victims and we're the oppressors, and it's on us to change our views so they can probably snuggle little kids when they're not out looting or whatever it is. They're smashing capitalism or whatnot, and then they cry when the stores close and go away. It's like, how dare you shut down the market? It's like, well, you wouldn't stop robbing the store. Like, what did you think? Oh, well, it's just capitalism for you. Obviously, we need socialism. I always look at them and I go, so what, you mean like national version? And they go, how dare you? It's like, which one has a bigger body count? So the other thing the left does, and I've seen the Mary Sue do, is since they present themselves as the good guys, then we're obviously the bad guys, and that there aren't two sides to issues, because they already told you that they've reached the only valid conclusion based on their straw man, that there's no room for disagreement. It's Rachel Leishman did this years ago when she was talking about they needed to shut down South Park because they two sides issues. And you look at him, you go like, you really don't think there's two sides to these issues? It's a lot of bored, blue-haired fat chicks who should have been married with kids years ago. The Mary Sue Writers it's a collection of these fat single women in their 30s who think that dieting is the patriarchy. And I look at these, if you just lost weight, you'd be married and have kids by now. It's just like, can you just cut the carbs? And it's not the patriarchy. It's like, it's just health. Nobody should be that obese. And the patriarchy is a good thing. And if we had a patriarchy, these 30-year-old fat women would have 4 kids by now and be banned from using the internet. Thank God women don't listen to this. Anyway, that's why the left is intolerable, because their childlike levels of emotional development in their fat adult bodies. They're whining that the producer threw the actor under the bus. No, the actor should not have made those incredibly stupid statements online that could possibly alienate the audience who has got the money in their hand, and you need to extract that money for the price of a ticket. That's how movies get made. You should never make a statement that concludes with, guys, if you disagree with me, don't see my movies. It's like insulting the audience. It's just challenging. Guys, if you disagree with my take, then don't join the subscribe store. I don't want your filthy money. And you're all fat and ugly. It's just, you look at these people like, you're crazy. Why are you saying these stupid things? Like, oh, because I already got paid. Yeah, but what about your coworkers? Oh, well, good thing I'm a sociopath and I don't think other people are real. Because when he says something stupid like that, the movies it's not a one-man show. There's hundreds of people that make a movie, and they need to get paid, and the investors need to get paid on the back end of these things. It's such a stupid, based on the net profit, it's such a stupid thing to say that, of course, the Mary Sue would defend it, because it's a collection of useful idiots. Because in the mind of the left, and, honestly, you're going to find out more than just Politico are funded. They're not funded by USAID. And so, they mean not directly subsidized. So what actually happened? It's with these kind of things is they would sell subscriptions to the government, and if you had 500 people in an office, they would be buying the subscriptions, but it would be like the premium corporate subscription for somebody in some DEI office, and they're paying like full price for a corporate subscription, which is 10 times the cost of just your ordinary subscription. And it's like, oh, it sounds like money laundering. Yeah, obviously it is. Yes, obviously. Yes. Everyone in that office, the government does not need a subscription to Politico. So what happened with Politico is they were like $8 million short in payroll. I guess they pay it maybe 2 weeks or every month or something. And so they issue this email, comes out, and they're like, yeah, there's some kind of accounting glitch. We don't have, something's wrong. We're not able to pay you. It's like, if you don't pay your employees, you don't have employees. It's like they might hang for 2 days. You might hang out for 2 days, and then you just realize, oh, we just, I guess we're fired, or we quit, or the company is, I guess you're not really fired or quit. It's like the company just has dissolved. If you don't have the money to pay your employees, you don't have employees anymore. That's absolutely bizarre. So I don't know what happened with that. But with the USAID, it's like you're going to find a ton of this kind of your taxpayer dollars have been going to fund left-wing Soros type of projects. Absolutely bizarre. And Trump is different this term. I got it. Probably going through the first term and then having the entire government come after you for 8 years, and then dodging a 223, and actually having it clip your ear. It's like, yeah, all right, fair enough. I could see how that would change you. That kind of experience you really can't buy. Anyway, if you disagree with men in dresses or sexualizing children, turning them into catamites, then you're a Nazi, and they don't want your money in the first place. They have to create this binary that they don't allow any nuance or argument. That's why they have to censor and deplatform, because the open marketplace of ideas is a losing proposition for them. Robust debate, cross-examination, the whole thing that Western civilization is based on, scares them to death. These same people who can't order can't order a pizza, and then yet they think and like crippling addiction to drugs and whatever, and they think they're the ones to run society. It's absolutely bizarre. And you look at them and you just go, this is all a fad, right? You get this. This is like fads throughout history. No, this is totally real. I'm not just mad at my dad. I think you're mad at your dad. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, everyone, over on Odyssey and SubScribeStar. And, guys, you can join SubScribeStar if you're a Nazi or a communist. Your money is green to me. And I'll see you guys all next episode.